Hello, Yates County and beyond. Welcome back to the last episode of Invasive Species Friday, Season 2. Through this short weekly podcast, we at the Yates CCE hope to bring you information about the invasive species you may see around this county. We're swimming low with this week's invasive, round goby. This aggressive freshwater fish is native to the region of the Black, Caspian, and Azov Seas in Eurasia. It was first discovered in the U.S. in 1990 in the St. Clair River near Detroit, Michigan, when a specimen was caught by anglers. The invasive spread to all of the Great Lakes before 1999. It's believed that the round goby was originally introduced in contaminated ballast water. Round goby are bottom-dwelling fish with a voracious appetite. They prefer sandy or rocky shelves with low levels of silt, but have also been seen in open sandy areas. They can also survive in degraded environments and a wide range of temperatures, water qualities, oxygen concentrations, and salinities. Gobies have a torpedo-shaped body with a big head and bulging eyes. Round goby have a distinct black spot at the rear of their dorsal fin, the one along their back. They only have one fin on their belly, called a pelvic or ventral fin. On most fish, including a native lookalike, the sculpin, there are two pelvic fins, but the gobies are fused together in a scallop shape. The juvenile goby are gray in color. The adults are brownish gray with black, brown, or olive-colored splotches and are usually 3 to 6 inches long. The fish reach maturity a year or two after hatching and live for about 4 years total. From April to September, the males have black bodies with yellowish spots, and their median fins have a yellowish-white outer edge. During this time, the gobies are spawning and guarding their nests. They can spawn or reproduce several times per season. Females can release clutches of hundreds of eggs every 20 days and spawn with several different males. The males are the ones that defend the nests, and as a result, the gobies have an unusually high number of living, healthy offspring after each spawning. While they do get eaten by larger fish, the goby reproduce at a much faster rate. They have been found in densities up to 20 fish per square yard. You probably have a guess at why this fish is considered invasive. But rapid and fruitful reproduction isn't the only advantage the round goby has. When nesting, the male goby can be very territorial and often outcompete native species for the best spawning habitats. Goby feed on a variety of macroinvertebrates, fish eggs, and fry, or baby fish. This means they can reduce both the population of the native fish and the food supply of an area. The goby also have a well-developed sensory system, enhancing their ability to detect water movement. Unlike most fish, goby can feed in complete darkness, giving them yet another competitive edge. Additionally, goby do feed on zebra and quagga mussels, two invasives we covered in Season 1. In theory, this is great, but in reality, these mussels are filter feeders and accumulate heavy metals, harmful bacteria, toxins, and PCBs, or man-made chemicals, in their fatty tissue. These contaminants bioaccumulate, meaning they're absorbed much faster than they're eliminated, so the levels in the organism are often much higher than the levels in the environment. When the mussels are eaten by the goby, the pollutants are passed on, and the more the goby eats, the more the substances will build up. If the goby is eaten by a sport fish like smallmouth bass or walleye, the increased levels of pollutant are again passed on, and those fish will in turn have higher levels. This process of successively higher concentrations in each level of the food chain is called biomagnification. Unfortunately, if the next step in the food chain is human, the pollutants can be passed along to us. While biomagnification is happening in many of our environments, the areas where these invasives are present together, compounded with the goby reducing the diversity of native fish and food availability, the levels of accumulation can reach excessive levels, and it may be dangerous to eat certain fish in the water body. If all of that wasn't bad enough, round goby have also been linked to type E avian botulism outbreaks, which are responsible for extensive waterbird deaths in the Great Lakes, and viral hemorrhagic septicemia, a fatal disease that affects many native fish species. So what do you do if you think you've caught this week's invasive? Don't throw it back. Take pictures from different angles and then pop it in the freezer. Email the photos and the location to the DEC, submit a report to IMAP Invasives, or reach out to your local partnership for regional invasive species management. Once the ID's been confirmed and the fish is very dead, you can then toss it in the trash. Never use round goby for bait, and make sure any bait you do use is certified non-invasive and disease-free. If you're fishing from a boat, it's also very important to clean, drain, and dry your boat to make sure none of the little invaders hitch a ride to a new location. The best management for any invasive species is to prevent the spread. And with that, we reach the end of this week's episode of Invasive Species Friday. This is also the end of Season 2 of this podcast. I want to thank my colleagues, executive director, and board members at the Yates County CCE for their constant encouragement and support. We also want to thank our listeners for not only their support, but for their continued interest in the invasive species found in this county, and eagerness to learn what they can do to help minimize the spread. Your active participation in this endeavor is seen and appreciated. We want to remind you one more time that if you see an invasive on your adventures, please report it to IMAP Invasives. We'll be back with another batch of species to look out for next year for Season 3 of Invasive Species Friday. Until then, we at the Yates CCE thank you for tuning in and supporting our fight against invasive species in Yates County.